All right, welcome to the podcast. I'm very honored today to have Taylor Desseyn on today's Noble Insight show. So, Taylor, welcome.
What's going on, man? It's awesome to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, this is a huge treat. So, I'm excited that you could come on and learn a little bit more about you and what you're up to in the world. So, thank you again for hopping on. Now, remind me, where in the world are you calling from? It's somewhere in the central time zone, right?
Yeah. So I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I live about 25 minutes north of Nashville. Me and the fam have a little farm. Not really a farm. We have some land. Let's just say that. We have some horses, a miniature donkey, a corgi, and a cat. We are expecting our third kid in about 4 weeks. So,
Oh, that's amazing.
giddy up.
Man,
Thank you.
I got five.
There you go.
And
Well, hopefully I look as good as you, man. You look great.
goals, Taylor. We all have to have them. Yeah. I remember a few years ago, it was some Nate Bargatze special, but he had this comedy thing about Nashville. He's like, welcome to Nashville. Go to the bars, go listen to shows, and then go home.
Yeah.
Don't move here. We don't
Yeah.
want you here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can go into, it's a whole nother conversation. My parents are up here now, and they moved like even more north
Yeah.
from us. It's expensive. Traffic's terrible. So, if you want to come here, great, but you're probably not going to live downtown. Or if you
Right.
want to, God bless.
So you grew up in Tennessee, Taylor?
No, I'm from South Carolina. I went to the University of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks, big
Go.
SEC college football guy. We did not have a good college football season. My Twitter is crazy. It's between Gamecock football, college football, and tech. Definitely follow along on the recent OC hire that's going to come from the University of South Carolina. But anyways, yeah, I went to University of South Carolina. I was in a band, kind of like indie folk pop situation. Me and my lead singer got introduced through church when I was a junior in high school. But we played together for about 7 years. And, towards the end of college, we started drawing a pretty good crowd. We would draw like 150, 200 people at a local show in a college town, which is pretty good
Yeah.
for like a non-cover band. And he looked at me one day, he goes, man, let's move to Nashville. And I was like, all right, dude, sounds good. Let's do it. Went home, told my mom. My mom's like, let's take a walk. Whenever my mom wanted to talk to me about something serious, she was like, let's go take a walk. So we took a walk, told her I wanted to do it, moved to Nashville, had a little bit of savings saved up, and then moved up here, played the honky tonks, recorded an EP for actually another artist on Music Row, did the whole like nice studio thing, did some touring, and it just wasn't for me. We went on a huge run from Nashville to Boston and back. We broke down on the side of the road in the middle of South Carolina in August after not sleeping, nothing. We drove all night. My lead singer, bless his heart, he and I are really good friends. Actually, we just hung out with he and his wife the other day. They've actually made it, which is pretty cool. So I was like, you know what? Touring life isn't for me. And so I kind of threw myself into recruiting.
What
Yep.
instrument did you play?
So I was a drummer.
Drummer.
I was a drummer. So, yeah, I started playing drums in the 5th grade. I was great in the studio. Playing to a click track was kind of my thing. I don't play much anymore. The wife wants me to get into it again, but it's just time. So,
Are you a Zildjian or a Sabin guy?
Zildjian. Yep.
Zildjian.
There you go. I love it.
You get Vic Firth sticks?
So when I did marching band was innovative percussion. I actually had a little stick deal for a bit. I
Nice.
forgot who it was at this point, but I had a little stick deal and AKA discounted sticks that lasted a decent amount of time, so I took it. So.
I'm a jazz drummer, marching Mizzou, quads.
Oh.
Did quads.
Yeah, I did quads too. So I tried out for Carolina Crown.
Yeah.
If we want to get super nerdy, DCI.
Let's go.
Yeah. So one of my biggest disappointments in my career, I haven't talked about this that much just because it's super niche from a marching band perspective, but you'll understand. But Carolina Crown in 2009 did a show called The Grass is Always Greener. And me and my quad buddy at South Carolina tried out together. And for some reason, I got cut a month before move-ins. So I marched. Like the first 2 minutes of the show. I had the percussion instructor come up to me. At the time, it was Lee Bettis. Lee Bettis came up to me. I never thought I'd talk about a marching band on a tech podcast, but here we are. Lee Bettis came up to me and was like, you even know the book better? I don't know why they took me, to be totally frank with you. Still to this day, I still don't know why. I remember him calling me. I got a call from a Toronto number because he lived in Toronto. And obviously, that makes sense. And I got it. And I cried afterwards. I was devastated because they actually ended up I think they got second in drums that year. I think it was the highest percussion score that they've gotten at that time. And I marched with all those guys and knew those guys so well. And not being able to march with them was a huge disappointment.
I'm so sorry about that, man.
Did the WGI circuit, did indoor percussion, marched the Independent Open World Finals, placed top 5 there. So yeah, man, big band nerd guy, man. Big band nerd.
That's really cool. I think I had a dream when I was a freshman in high school that I wanted to go to North Texas State and play in the 1 o'clock lab band. I had a drum set teacher at a camp, and he was the 1 o'clock lab band drum coach. Yeah. And he had me convinced, and I think my dad said, let's take a walk, kind of like you.
Yeah, let's take a walk. Yeah,
and it was like, you can't feed your family as a musician and all this. And it just like, I remember it crushed my 14-year-old dreams of being a drummer. Yeah. But, I think that was that generation's vibe. Like,
it was. That's a whole
lawyers, attorneys,
parenting
safe.
Conversation.
Let's,
now, if my daughter came to me, my daughter's I can already tell she's gonna be super creative. My wife is a photographer, and she's super creative, and she went to SCAD for fine art photography. She's super creative. My wife and my daughter, I can tell, is gonna be super creative. She's taking pictures, loves drawing.
Sure.
Man, if she came to me now, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, like figure it out, like do whatever you want to do. If you love it, figure it out, and if not, you do what I did, and I pivoted into recruiting out of all professions.
Well, isn't that the craziest thing though? You can make money doing anything now,
especially now. Especially now.
Yeah, like you can make money doing anything.
That's a loaded question.
You can do. I mean, there's guys that they just. I mean, imagine if you were telling my parents that you could sit around and play video games, and millions of people would log in every day just to watch you play a video game, let alone all the other stuff people do. But you know what? If you love something so much and you're good at it, right, man, you can always find a way to make that monetize.
100%.
Yeah. So you went there, you got into recruiting. So how'd you get to recruiting from kind of where you are now?
Yeah, so it's crazy. The other day on Facebook Memories, like my OG business card popped up from 2011. I was like, man, what a journey. It's been a crazy journey. I have a pretty obsessive personality type. I like to do things to the best of my ability. Anything I get into, I'm just like, I hate playing board games. My family hazes me around the holidays because I hate playing board games or games in general, because if I don't win, I don't want to play it.
Okay, so let me just interject really quick. So I just want everybody to understand DCI is one of the most intense things a human being can do outside of special forces.
Yeah, you're paying like $2,000 to sleep on a floor.
You pay
on like a gym floor.
To be treated terribly in horrible conditions all summer long as a kid under the age of 21. They're all under 21, right? Yeah. So under 21, you sleep on a bus. People are horrible to you. You get cussed out tremendously by everybody that's in college if you're
absolutely
young. And you pay to do this experience, and you get to carry 50 pounds of weight on your back the entire summer outside, eat terrible food, and get roasted and hazed and everything. And so you did this just because you get some of the most insane chops that's humanly possible at that age to outplay just about anybody.
I was drumming.
Yeah,
for sure.
This is Taylor's kind of personality.
It was, and even more so, extra obsessive personality type. I was given the chance for those of you listening, you're like, what are these guys talking about? So like with WGI, you typically, your first camp is in October, I think, or September, October. Mm-hmm. That's usually like when they make the initial cut, they rate you out. And then the November is when you start to mold the group. December is usually kind of your second deep cut. And then January, you're kind of there, right? I mean, starting in January, they really, it may be some small cuts, but so for me, I was told in December to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
I was told in December, I was like, hey, you're kind of on the edge. We don't know if we're going to take you. So I sent an audition tape to Boston Crusaders, Spirit of Atlanta. And, I had interest from Boston, which now in hindsight, they just won world championship. Shout out to them. Nice. But I was like, you know what? No, I want to march Carolina Crown. They're in South Carolina. I want to march. I didn't even look elsewhere. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And if I'm going to do it, or if I'm not going to do it, I'm going to go down swinging, which is kind of my personality type. I think what's made me really kind of accelerated my career through the recruiting ranks, and then have been kind of headstrong into what I'm doing now, which we can unpack here in a minute. But yeah, started at a company called Vaco. Started with them. They were $250 million in revenue when I started. When I left, they were about $1 billion. So kind of saw them through that. Started as an IC. Got promoted from one division, went to Raleigh, worked in the Raleigh market for a year, which is really funny because there's a huge tie now for me in Raleigh with Torque, which is hilarious. It's just funny how it all comes back around. Was there for a year, built tremendous lasting relationships I'm still leveraging, 13, 14 years later. Moved back to Nashville, moved into like a lead role, then a manager role, then a division director. COVID hit. And so I've started to use this analogy more in my podcasts I've been on, but I grew up sailing, which is another thing. I don't know if you grew up sailing too. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So basically, the TLDR on sailing is you can't get to the mark racing straight. You have to tack back and forth and go back and forth. You can't go right into the wind. And to be I was never this good. I was there for the pure muscle side of things and pulling the ropes. But, you have to look where the wind's going to go, not where it's been.
Ooh.
And so in March of 20, there had been a time at Vaco where I was like, man, like the recruiters really need more help sourcing. So I pioneered the sourcing program that everybody operates now in today's world. But back at Vaco, nobody was doing it. And so I was like, we need to start this program to add more juice to the recruiters. My boss was like, sure, you head it up. I headed up. It was wildly successful. Then I sent him, which now in hindsight with the use of AI, I sent him like a 10-minute voice memo. I probably still have it on my phone. I need to find it and just like post it somewhere. But basically, I told him that the recruiters' jobs need to be automated. But I didn't use those words. I was like, there's so much process that recruiters do that we need more operational support, which now can all be done with AI, right?
Yeah.
So I was seeing the lines there. And then when COVID hit in 2020, I basically was like, all right, the engineering market's going to be fully distributed. Because at the time I was just recruiting in Nashville all day, every week, just in Nashville. So I was like, well, I got to reach people at scale. So that's when I started my podcast, Guidance Counselor 2.0, where I would just stream online, talk about the job search, how to write a resume, how to write a LinkedIn, how do you work with recruiters. All these things I got constantly asked. I was like, I might as well just share this publicly. 6 years later, after doing that, I've had people on from, Google, Apple, Netflix, etc. And for me, I knew something had to change. So I got into content creation. Okay. Well, so then I was like, the staffing industry is kind of broken here. Mm-hmm. We need to stop selling into companies and just asking them to work with us. Why don't we sell into companies with the talent we have? So I essentially created, in hindsight now, a talent marketplace.
Nice.
Which was around. I'm not gonna take credit for a talent marketplace, but I pioneered it at Vaco because what happened is I had all these clients come to me when the market was ripping that said, "Hey Taylor, we want to work with you because of my content."
That's cool.
And I was like, all right. That's why props to you for starting this thing. So I went to my boss and I was like, hey, like, what do I do? And he was like, well, like, you feasibly can't run a recruiting team and run a division. So he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, my gut's saying I need to go start this division. I basically created, which is funny, I created Torque on a Trello board. So he literally had our entire talent on a Trello board. And I would go into sales meetings and be like, hey, Mr. CTO, I have these 16 Java developers that are looking for work. Here are their profiles. I click into a Trello card and we'd go over their profile. And you're like, oh, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to her. I want to talk to him.
Yeah.
So that happened. Then we started to move into a community model. I started a Discord. I started an email newsletter. I started to do those things. I started to do more events.
You're both building inventory and you're building demand
at the same time, because your content attracts both. And that's been really hard to kind of tell people over the course of my career. Like, well, because people keep asking me, like, well, how do you get these clients? I'm like, it's content. It's like, well, how do you get candidates? It's content. What do you mean? It's like, well, it's the power of it. It does both. So got to the point at Vaco. They were PE backed. When you're PE backed and you're not hitting budget, people are cut. The entire division was cut that I was in and restructured. Then spent a year stint at a startup here in Nashville. They got a Series A. Thought we were heading the right direction, didn't quite work out. It's fine. And then moved on. I actually interviewed for Torque, believe it or not, before I joined the previous company. It just wasn't the right time. I hit up my now boss, or former boss, because he moved into another division at Ronstadt, Dave Messinger. Dave goes, well, you won't believe this, but we were just bought by Ronstadt and we're looking for somebody to come head up community for our platform. I was like, well, I don't know if you're going to find somebody who knows this better than me, to be totally frank.
Yeah.
And so I've been here for the last almost year and a half now.
How's it been going?
Man, it's been great. I mean, it's really a dream job. It really is. I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and be totally rose-colored glasses. There's problems. When you integrate with a $2 billion organization, I mean, you're going to have your challenges, but I think as a whole, it's been just, I mean, I've been incredibly blessed. I think what we've built in the last year, because we really started, even though I got hired in August, we really started to get going in October. What we've built in the last year and 2 months has been tremendous. I mean, we got 8 people on the ambassador team that we started that has torque tattoos. So there's like 8 of us that have like the torque gear tattooed on our body.
That's awesome.
So
You and Harley, and
Yeah.
Speaking of, I have a friend.
Yeah.
He has a Zildjian tattoo on his back, like that Turkish.
Gosh, dedicated. I would have gotten the crown tattoo, so that was another thing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, his picture is on a boardroom in Massachusetts. I think it's Springfield is where they're headquartered here in the U.S.
Yeah.
His picture, his back. He's looking at this picture where he's kind of. But yeah, you get a tattoo. That's insane. So you got.
We've only been at it for a year. 8 people.
Wow.
We've launched a ton of different programs. We're at the point now where a lot of our efforts are starting to yield. People in our community getting jobs. I had a guy in the Discord today. I was like, hey, I just got matched for a job at the Torque platform. Like, I'm super pumped. Nobody is doing what we're doing in the staffing talent industry.
Why aren't they?
So, my opinion, and again, only one person, but you're interviewing me, is that the staffing industry has to over leverage their marketing efforts on the clients.
Okay.
Because the clients are the ones that cut the check.
Mm-hmm.
So the talent gets left out to dry.
Sure.
Ronstad, shout out to them, Sonder, the CEO, was like, we need to be different. Recruiting companies are a dime a dozen now.
Yeah.
You have your mom and pop down the road starting one, then you have, your mid-levels and then your senior folks like, enterprise companies like us, Robert Half, yada, yada, yada. So really what community is and what we've, again, continued to refine at Ronstad is community really is the marketing arm for talent. Mm-hmm. Right. So, Ronstad Digital carries a huge weight. So they are going to use that name for the client side and the sales and marketing collateral. But when it comes to job seekers just want to be a part, just good vibes. Right. And so, for us, I always say in leadership meetings with Ronstad, the vibes are immaculate. I always check in and people are getting to know that at this point when I say that. And so, we get to love on candidates. I would say we've only done about 15% of what we need to do just because of the scale that we're having to do with it. Right now, we have 2.3 million technologists on our platform. Wow. When you have that size and scale, it's going to take a long time. I've been challenged in my thinking and leadership to all right, what do we do right now that can move the needle in a small way to eventually where it snowballs over time? And so it's been great.
What do you think are the biggest obstacles right now you guys are facing that you're trying to overcome?
Just in terms of what exactly?
Like growth, expansion, world domination.
Yeah.
What's kind of keeping you from being, just taking over everything?
I think the biggest thing is that we have to stay in it. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of time. And the larger you are, the more time it's going to take.
Sure.
And so for us, I would say our biggest issue is we just got to stay at it. Like, we've only been at it for a year. We've made some huge headway, but where we need to go is only going to be fixed with time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't build community to make a sale tomorrow. You build community to have a lasting brand that when people think of the name Torque, they are like, oh yeah, Torque's legit. I love those guys. That's where we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to it across the globe.
Yeah.
And when you have that task, it's going to take some time.
Sure.
So my buddy Ken Collins, who's our head of product, would love to answer this question for you because he's an AI aficionado. And we're using a lot of AI on the platform, which is pretty cool. Again, I'm not in product. I work with Ken a lot because community and product tie in so closely together. One of the things we're using with AI is kind of twofold. One, we have an AI team at Torque, and they're helping on 2 sides of the fence here, right? So the one side of the fence is helping recruiters at Ronstad search and match better, more effectively, and finding candidates that are a truer fit for a job.
Yeah.
Right. No company has that in terms of that search. I think that there's a lot of startups starting to do that, but in terms of putting that with 2 million users, it comes with a different level of juice. I would say that's one of the things we're doing in terms of AI. I think another one of the things on the other side of the fence when it comes to the candidate, we're not there yet on the platform, but kind of our hopes and what we're shooting for is kind of twofold. One is jobs, right? So there's going to be a few iteration of jobs, but the main goal with AI, especially on a platform with jobs, is that it will take your profile and it will cross-reference all the data. Because you got to remember that the amount of data that we deal with at Ronstead is tremendous because we're so enterprising,
Sure.
right? And so what we're going to be able to do is compile all that data and be like, hey, Josh, just want to let you know, you've only been matched with like 50% of the jobs on our platform and your skill set, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then as a job seeker, you're like, well, I'm going to go create a profile over at Torque because I'm going to get all this data on where I'm missing the mark. And then the other way we're using AI is around, well, actually, I would say that's twofold. So basically just focus on leveling up, but then also, the other thing is jobs, right? So it's like taking all the jobs that we get on a weekly basis at Ronstead Digital and then compiling those down and making it a perfect fit match for you, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest issues that we hear time and time again with talent platforms is it's all junk, right? We want to be intentional. And so one of the ways we're doing that is we're using AI to kind of calibrate all the jobs to make sure it's a fit. Are we there yet? No, but that is our goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be a huge tool. I actually gave a keynote in October at All Things Open in Raleigh around like looking at AI in your career.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't realize, like I've been recruiting or in the engineering community now for 14 years, right? I started recruiting when the shift from VB to C# happened. I was recruiting when React came out and everybody moved from jQuery. I still recruited some Cold Fusion devs back in the day.
Of course you did.
Right? Yeah. So like I've been through the gamut. And I think what's happening right now, this is like the biggest takeaway that I had from my keynote, is I've seen this, it's trends. It happens over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're at right now is when React came out on the market. There are a lot of developers that jumped to it. There are a lot of developers that branded themselves as a React developer. They started putting out content online. They started to become known as a community as the React person. And there's a lot of developers like, you know what, I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to stick with the tools I'm using. And they were left behind. I would say that's where we're at with AI. It is something that you cannot ignore. It is something that you need to know how to work into your daily processes as a developer. I've talked with a lot of engineering managers right now in interviews. AI is a nice to have, but it's quickly becoming a must have. And so I just think you can't sit there and be like, oh, it's just no, it is here to stay. If you are not using a Claude, a Cursor, a Gemini or whatever to help you move your processes along, you're going to get left behind.
It's so true, Taylor. I mean, my gosh, I'm like, even in my role, you hear this thing of the people that are like the, fire, bad, evil, because they see AI as something that, you just use to shortcut things. And that is maybe like the surface level use of it. But my gosh, if you're motivated and you're like, you're like engaged in a good cause and you're trying to get a lot of work done, it becomes the force multiplier in a lot of things that you're functioning at. And I'm creating things that I never thought even was possible before. So I see a lot of value in taking it.
Well, and I think too, and I want to make a note of this. I said it in my keynote and I've said it on my podcast. I don't think AI is taking people's jobs. I still think we're dealing with the over-hiring of the market in 2021.
Oh, interesting point.
And I think AI has a bad marketing. Like I think of everything in marketing and branding. AI is the boogeyman. We've made it out to be the boogeyman. So anything bad that happens in the market, we're going to blame the boogeyman, right? Oh, it's AI's fault. Well, no. Fact of the matter is that I think companies have realized, and I'm not saying it's Elon Musk and X. I know people have very interesting thoughts on him as a person and how he runs things. But I think one thing that happened is you had your big tech companies look over their shoulder at Elon, who's laid off 99% of the staff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you use the X algorithm. It's absolutely dialed right now. I would say it's as good as a TikTok algorithm when it comes to like written content.
It's pretty good.
Like it's amazing, right? I like one post about college football and I get like a gazillion other things, right?
Yeah.
I think the problem is it's not taken away from people's jobs, but we're blaming it. I do think, though, and I'm not going to be naive in this, I do think it is chipping away at the amount of developers net new a company hires.
That's fair.
I think there's a difference. I think the layoffs are still because of the overhiring. I think the slowness of growth could potentially be AI. Because the way I look at a developer without using AI is a whole number 1.0.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
If they're using AI, they could be a 1.25 multiplier, a 1.5 multiplier, maybe a 1.75 multiplier.
Yeah.
You start adding that up over the course of headcount, you could save 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 25 hires
Yeah.
if all your engineers are using AI effectively like that. So that is where I think it could potentially be a cutting into jobs, but I don't think it's taking away jobs at the clip of what the market is saying it is.
Maybe shifting gears for a second, like,
Sure.
how do you all make money? In other words, where's the revenue coming from? Is it just the client, or is
Yeah, the clients.
the talent?
Yeah,
There's no premium that the talent pays to get on the.
no, I mean, yeah, my mom, she's 60 something years old, right? She called me up the other day. She's like, Taylor, what do you do? I was like, I get a lot of that.
Let's take a walk, Mom.
Yeah, let's take a walk.
Yeah.
And so she was like, well, what are all the services you offer? Because my dad's on the job search, and I've actually been helping him as well.
Nice.
And he's in the restaurant industry. And I was like, well, this is what we provide. And my mom's like, you offer all that for free? And I was like, yeah. She goes, that's incredible. And so for us, it is still, the clients are paying the bills. When you can get as big and enterprisey as Ronstadt, you probably, again, I don't know budgets and finances or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm sure you could probably take more of a risk. Not a risk, but I'm sure you can invest more in community because you already have the clientele. I mean, we work with every Fortune 100 client. The names I keep hearing about is just tremendous that we work with. So when you have that clientele and that revenue coming in, I mean, Ronstadt as a whole is like $30 billion in revenue, like as a whole. And like their tech industry, the Ronstadt Digital is like 2 billion. So yeah, so again, clients still pay us. So it really is. I mean, like everybody we've talked to is like, wow, this is great. I've always wanted this. So
what's your future look like? What do you think you're going to focus on and do?
You know, I think community is here to stay, right? I got hit up for a job. I'm not leaving my current role if my team listens to this in the future. But I got hit up for a job. It was a recruiter who I'm friends with. And she was like, hey, she goes, there's another recruiting company wanting to build community. I was like, get out of town. And she was like, I called all my friends in the recruiting world and they go, who should I speak with? And she goes, your name got brought up every time. And I think community is going to be bigger than ever because everything's becoming commoditized.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Especially in the two industries, I think, and I got pushed back that AI is not an industry. I think AI is an industry in itself within tech. AI and staffing are the two industries that need to be community first.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to put a face and a brand and a tone and an awareness with your product or service because everything's commoditized.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to separate you from everybody else? I think from the future, I'd love to have another Vaco run at Ronstadt. I was at Vaco for 11 years. I'd love to have another 11-year run. But I do think, more than ever, especially in the sea of AI, I think you're going to see companies, Notion, heavy salary for community recently. Anthropic, heavy salary for community-led. Coinbase has got ahead of community open. And the only reason why I know this is I pushed it on LinkedIn. Duolingo, however you say it, has ahead of community posted. And I called it back in January. I think community is going to be the number one hot hiring thing that you're going to continue to see. And I have not been wrong yet.
Awesome. Taylor, you rock, man. I appreciate the time. This is
dude.
tons of fun.
Yeah.
You know, I remember 1994, summer of, I'm 50-yard line, DCI finals, University of Wisconsin.
Golly, I wish they brought it back to Madison.
Putting my cup around my ear to get that full Blue Angel, just, horn line, just going for it, right?
I love it.
I've kind of drugged my kids to a few of those Fathom movie specials where they show the DCI finals at your local movie theater. I've just never been back. I've just never had the chance to get back to a final and see those. I've seen a few of the shows they do throughout the summer if I'm local. But yeah, it's a cool little subculture, no doubt.
It is, man. It's cool. The other night, my wife kind of rolled over. She was like, why are you still up? It was like 11:30 on a school night. And I was like, I found DCI on TikTok. And so, again, the TikTok algorithm's so good. You like a few things and you just get pushed it. So I was watching band videos. This interview, it just confirms I'm a big band nerd. But yeah, so yeah, man, it's a special. And again, I pull a lot from community, from different things like that, right? Like what makes DCI such a niche
Like, what makes it so special, right? And you know, this goes into, I know we're wrapping up, but this goes into one of my key pillars on how to build community: shared suffering.
Yeah.
So
Shared trauma
like,
is a bonding
yeah, it's
moment.
shared trauma, right? With Torque, we have the job search.
Don't you
And
think that's true just about anything that's hard?
Yeah,
You know,
CrossFit.
I've
you
got
know.
some friends that we will be friends our entire lives because of the things that we went through together. And it wasn't
Yeah.
even like, seriously trauma, but it was just difficult. And
College football,
yeah.
soccer overseas, or proper football over there,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Toured
it's
around the
just-
country in a broken down van.
Yeah, man. South Carolina football, shared suffering.
Cleveland
20
Browns
years.
fan. It's
Yeah,
it's-
exactly. That's what I'm saying, though, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do with us. Like, our shared suffering is the job search. So,
Job
like,
search, yeah.
how can we facilitate conversations and build community around the job search
Mm-hmm.
when it's an incredibly stressful situation?
That's incredible, man. Taylor, this was awesome, man. I appreciate your time. This was wonderful.
Absolutely.
And so people can find you. You said the name of the podcast again. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, guidance. So my podcast is Guidance Counselor 2.0. I'm on every single social media platform. T Desseyn, TDESSEYN, and my email is taylor@torque.dev.
All right. Taylor, man, keep rocking. We'll catch you later.